Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today is Series Sunday, which is a day where I talk about books that are in a series, or even TV series, or even film series that I'm doing at the moment. Today it is a book series. I have been reading the Paris Beaufont books by Sarah Noffke and Michael Anderle. If you've been here before, you know that I have done the Sophia series, which was actually the second series in the series, and then I went back to the beginning with Liv, and now I have gone forward again with Paris, which is also known as the Agent Beaufont books. Yeah. We're going into book 4, 5 and 6. Book number 4 is The Shatterproof Magician. Book number 5 is The Independent Fairy, and book number 6 is Creative Matchmaker. So at the next catch up, it will be at number 9, which is the last of this section of Paris, but there is another Paris series after that. As I understand it, I think it's these 9 books see Paris going through Fairy Godmother College, and then the next series with Paris is going to be what happens to her after, when she becomes Agent Beaufont. So it kind of gives you an idea of where this is going, and to be fair, it's not really that out of left field, because you know from these books that the Beaufont family are all part of some kind of prophecy, and that it is in their blood to do good and change the world. So Paris is on her journey figuring out what that is for her, and her role at the Godmother College is learning about love. And over the past 3 books, you've really seen her coming into her own and standing up and fighting against the traditional side of things and saying, no, you're in the modern day, you kind of need to catch up a bit. Like, love isn't just for the elite. Everybody deserves love. And obviously there's the bully at school whose family is in with the FGA, the Fairy Godmother Agency, which has a lot of bad seedlings in there, including Agent Ruby, who is somebody who is very traditional, and he's trying to take down Paris and the Godmother College. He wants to stop it from evolving, basically. He really wants to go back to the elitist days of the Fairy Godmother training, where it was all about learning to dance, flower arranging, the stars aligning, but only for the rich and the elite, and that they don't care about anybody else. So there's a lot of bad seedlings who have this point of view, and we're seeing more of who has that thinking at the college as well as in the agency, and is part of the reason why St. Valentine, after briefly coming out of hiding, has gone back into hiding, because over these past 3 books we've really seen just how much Agent Ruby is really angry and really annoying. I can't remember where he came in, whether it was at the end of book 2 or the beginning of book 3, but yeah, Agent Ruby just wants to take down everything, and he wants to put everything back to the beginning again, and there's a few people who are with him in the idea that it needs to go back to being elitist. And yeah, so Paris is on her mission to take down that thinking and saying, love is for everybody. Everybody deserves love. It's not just for the rich people and the people who you think are at the top. It's just like, the teachers here deserve love, and those people who are just waiting at the train station to go home, they deserve love, like anybody. It's just very clear, sorry, leaning over for my cup of tea. It's just very clear that the time has come for change in this world, and it's really fun to see how Paris helps that to evolve, especially because you got Mei Ling, who is Sophia's fairy godmother, and she's working her magic with Paris being at the college, and you're seeing how May seems to be a bit of a fairy godmother for Paris as well, and saying, you know, you are important and you cannot change because you are an agent of change. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I love how across the stories and across the characters you really get quite an age range, because I started off with Sophia, and Sophia was 16 in her book when she grew up very quickly to become a dragon rider, and then I went back to Liv, which was the first series, and Liv was in her mid-20s, so I definitely identified, through all 3 of them so far, I've identified with Liv the most, just with her being a bit older and understanding what it feels like to be kind of out on your own and figuring yourself out, especially because in those books she was coming off the death of her parents, and so she was trying to be insanely independent, and at the same time realising that she does have a family and she can have friends, and there's nothing wrong with saying to somebody, I need help. Yeah, and then coming into Paris, she's younger again, so Paris is like 2021 in these books, so it really does span the age ranges to give you some really powerful female roles within these books, so anybody can read them really. I'll admit the fairy godmother stories, some people are maybe just like, oh, that sounds really cheesy, but I think it's because Paris she goes in very similar to her mother Liv, in the idea like, I do not want to wear a dress, and you know, I am not going to wear these purple gowns, because it's very akin to the fairy godmother image we have in our heads from Cinderella. It is literally that kind of purple gown with the pink bow and grey hair, and everybody has to wear it. And Liv comes in and says, well, I don't want to wear it, and Mei Ling doesn't wear this uniform, so I'm not going to wear it. And over the past 3 books also, just actually in the last couple of books, she's getting ready for like the big dance thing, because she has to learn how to ballroom dance, and even I'm with her going like, I'm not a graceful person. So I understand Paris going into the whole, oh my god, I have to learn to dance, I have to wear a dress, and I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen there, because she has to pick her fabric for her gown. And I was going to say, is she going to do some kind of like trouser cape situation? Just like, because I know what Liv did for her wedding in these books, where she basically came out in leather trousers and like this, was it like a white bodice or something? So it was like, it still had kind of a slightly bridal element while also being extremely Liv, and so I'm kind of hoping that something like that happens for Paris, so that she's not forced to wear something that she doesn't want to wear. Even though they go through the whole thing of, you know, don't change, but you can also learn things while you're here. So yeah, I don't see Paris really changing that much when it comes to the idea of wearing a dress, and so the idea of her wearing something with like trousers and like some beautiful like skirt cape thing, I think that feels more Paris than actually wearing like a full-on gown. But yeah, so much have happened over these past 3 books in regards to Agent Ruby, because at first they didn't really know what was going on. At this point they've just pissed off Agent Ruby so much, and he's been caught out for things, and the fact that we've got like murder and stuff happening, like it's not like extremely graphic, but it's definitely skewing to kind of a slightly older audience now as you've gone through the books, almost as if like people have grown up with the different characters throughout the series. And yeah, I'm just insanely loving it. The last book had Paris and King Rudolph of the Fae together on a train, a mystery train where they go on and they have to solve a murder mystery, and it was just like, this feels very Murder on the Orient Express, I'm very much enjoying this. And then it was mentioned again in the author notes, so if you're somebody who doesn't read the author notes, you really need to read the author notes. It is so much fun reading what both Noffke and Michael Anderle talk about in their notes, and how they kind of speak to each other. And obviously with Sarah Noffke talking about the characters that have been inspired by real people, and how her daughter Lydia gets involved, and the Scotsman, her boyfriend, husband, I've lost track of, because I feel like I've gotten so much about the author's life through reading the author's notes. And obviously I kind of read them slightly out of order as well, because of starting off with Sophia and then going back to Liv and then jumping forward to Paris. But yeah, I'm just loving how much darker it feels like it's getting, and the friendship that you see Paris having at the college in regards to her friendship with Hemingway, which seems to be like a little love story that's bubbling, because Hemingway's kind of the groundskeeper, and he also teaches the flower arranging. He's got a very plant-based role. That sounds really weird. At the college, because he's the groundskeeper, and so he teaches them about the importance of like plants and flowers. And there is actually a point when they do flower arranging, and then Paris goes and says, oh, actually I got a meeting with Father Time, I've got a meeting with Papa Criolla, so I'm just going to leave you to do that. You realise that Paris will actually get more out of things as the stories go on. I'm just loving it. I'm so enjoying it. They're so easy to read, and I love the fact that when things are really building and you're getting to those moments of like, wars, fight, tension, that the chapters get shorter. And so it's just like, it's really gripping that attention span when it's just like, and then this happens, and then you transfer to like another character and see what they're doing, and I just love it. As also about the friendships, you've got her friendships with Hemingway, you've got Faraday the squirrel, which we're getting more and more information about at this point, having finished book 6 and going into book 7. I have been given the full details on Faraday, so I think I'll probably talk about that more next time when I'm wrapping up the whole series. But yeah, we've gotten the full information on what happened to Faraday and how he became a squirrel and how he became a talking squirrel and the secrets behind that. And it was a really heartbreaking thing, which was like when he's given the option to go back to his old life, and he's just there going, well, actually, that old life was horrible, and even if I have to give up being a human to be a squirrel, I would much rather be a squirrel and in Paris's life. And so I really just, it's such a wonderful friendship, and I can see it in my head like as a TV series, or well, yeah, I think a series is the only way to go about doing something like this. I agree, like with my past self on the Sophia and the Liv stories, that this really lends itself to a mini series of like 8-10 episodes, especially with something like, because this is only 9 books, but at the same time so much happens in it, so a 9-book series could lend itself to 3 seasons of a mini-series, I feel, because of how much happens. But yeah, seeing those friendships there, and then also the friendships that she's created just at the college. So you've got Christine and you've got Penny. You're seeing her as just an incredibly wonderful person who has so many ideas and is so creative, and you see her helping to turn around this old-fashioned way of thinking. And yeah, can you tell I'm enjoying it? It's great. I feel like it's at a point when I don't want to spoil too much, because so much has happened over the past 3 books over Agent Ruby and his role at the Fairy Godmother Agency, and finding out that a lot of the people at the agency are really in deep into this elitist way of thinking, and the fact that there's quite a few of them actually that seem to want to replace the current St. Valentine. And there was actually a brief mention about how St. Valentine has met Sophia before, and it was just like, I wonder when that was going to come up, because there is a whole book in Sophia dedicated to her and Wilder figuring out what was going on, because there was basically St. Valentine kind of went off on one, and like when you met him, he was like a great Gatsby kind of figure, and yeah, I was hoping that at some point the text would acknowledge the fact that St. Valentine has met Sophia before, especially because we're seeing Liv and Stefan slowly being reintroduced to the world, because they've been kept in the basement of Papa Criolla, I can't even speak, Father Time, Papa Criolla and his assistant Subner. They're being kept in the basement of their shop and they transformed the basement into a recreation of Liv's old flat above the John's Electric shop. So seeing all the different characters turn up at Father Time's shop and seeing them descend into the basement and slowly introducing themselves back into Liv and Stefan's lives. Because obviously for them it's only been a day that they've been away, but for everybody else it's been 15 years. It's really interesting how that playing with time, with the fact that Liv and Stefan have only been gone a day as far as they're concerned, and then they've come back actually 15 years later and they've realised the daughter's all grown up. It looks like there's only like a 10-year difference between them and their daughter. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that relationship changes and develops as the rest of the series goes on. So I thought a fly was on this side of the window. No, it's outside. Yeah. But there's just so much. It is so much fun. I'm so interested in how... I just love how much darker it has been getting. In fact, as well as having just that murder mystery on the train, there's been an actual murder. There was an actual murder at the college involving the FGA, the Fairy Godmother Agency, and you see the agency kind of turning on each other, and there's people turning on Paris now that it's been established like what her bloodline is, with her being a halfling, with being half fairy, half magician, with demon blood thanks to her father. And seeing how Paris has been understanding the demon side of her, even though it's like 1% of her, it's still her. And so we've even got to see Paris go on a mission with Stefan just in the last book, and it's really nice to see a father-daughter mission and seeing Paris watching her father at work as a demon hunter and her understanding that it's in her as well to do that, because that's like that small percentage of demon blood that she has, how that affects how she is attracted to that evil thing. Because it was just like her father was bitten and cured of being a demon, but he still possesses the demon blood, and because of that blood he is actually the best demon hunter because his senses are heightened. He can, you know, it makes him a better demon hunter because of it. And that has been passed on to Paris as well. Yeah, I feel like I've said so much and yet so little, but it's mainly because so much that happens over books 4, 5 and 6 that is a whole storyline in itself. But it all does come back to Agent Ruby and Paris realising that the agency coming into the college isn't actually the best thing at this point, because the agency has an agenda. Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. But yeah, I'm just loving it so much. Books 4, 5 and 6 of Paris. The Shatterproof Magician is book 4, book 5 is The Independent Fairy, and book 6 is The Creative Matchmaker. And then books 7, 8 and 9 are The Thoughtful Rebel, The Holistic Creator and The Unexpected Peacekeeper. So yeah, I am so looking forward to finishing off this one. And then after that, in my box set that I have, I think after this I've got a collection of short stories. So yeah, after this it goes into a Beaufont short stories collection, which I think, as I've seen it, I think some of it are things that have been lifted from other books and then other ones are brand new short stories, so it'll be interesting to see the short stories. And then after that you got The Extraordinary Fixer, which is book 6, which is The Unconventional Agent Beaufont, which seems to be Paris again. So, yeah. Knowing that that's coming gives me an idea of what's going to happen at the end of Fairy Godmother College for Paris. But yeah, very much enjoying it. Still keeping me greatly entertained. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes next. Where I am at the moment is that Agent Ruby has been disgraced, but he's still hell-bent on revenge. So he's not completely out of the picture. So I do wonder if he's now going to have a team, and that's going to take us through the last 3 books of really like standing up to like the resistance almost. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on Wednesday with a new video. But keep an eye on your series Sundays because I'm not that far off finishing this with only 3 books to go. And I can generally do 1 book in a day if I try. But yeah, stay safe everybody, love you all, bye!